Hello guys, and welcome to this live stream. I thought today we'd paint a beautiful picture, a little waterfall, midnight stream coming down here. So what I've done is I've black gessoed a 16 by 20 canvas. So any of those of you that want to follow along today, and if you get yourself your canvas and start painting it now, get your tools. Just want some black gesso, black acrylic paint, and just paint out the entire canvas and let it dry. So I'm going to just go over the few tools that we're going to use today to paint this picture, so you can grab those things and you can hopefully paint it along. So I've got some tissue paper, and I've just got a bit of kitchen roll. I'm just tearing off some squares that we're going to be using today. Now, even though it's a live stream, guys, I'm not going to be able to answer any questions that come on the screen because obviously I'm doing this, I'm on my own today, so I won't be able to see all the questions, but I will answer the questions afterwards, and obviously there will be a recording of this, and so, you know, all I do, I appreciate if you just like the video when you see it. If you're watching this again as a replay, I appreciate your like and subscribing this, but I will reply to all the comments. So if any comments you leave in this live stream, I will get back and I will post them at the bottom of the video. So as I said, I've just got some tissue paper and I'm just tearing that off. A 16 by 20 canvas. Hopefully you can see me okay, you can hear me okay, and it's working right. I've got a clear bit of perspex that I'm going to put my oil paints on. I've got some baby wet wipes, and the brushes I'm going to be using are, I've got like a 2-inch landscape brush, a 1-inch landscape brush, a 1-inch oval brush, a fan brush. I've got a 4-bit brush, I might use it, I'm not. Slightly bigger fan brush, again I may use that one, and I've got a script liner brush. I've also got, over there, I've also got some baby oil. I like to clean my brushes in baby oil, and I've got a little bit of refined linseed oil just to thin the paint here and there if I need it. Okay, and the paints I'm going to be using today, I'm going to put the paints on the palette as I use them. Basically we've got sap green, we've got cadmium yellow, midnight black, burnt umber, Van Dyke brown, phthalo blue, and I may put a little bit of red in there. So let's put those colours on here. See if I can do it with them standing up so you can see. But basically the first colour I'm going to put on there will be the blue, so I'll put a phthalo blue on here. So it might all run, but I'll give it a go. So let's put some phthalo blue up there. Hopefully while I'm doing this, you're painting your canvas, if there's any of those following along. I'll get some midnight black or lamp black, just a dark black colour, and I will move this down in a minute to stop the glare, because I know it probably is a bit glary on the video. So just put a bit of black on there. I'm going pretty slow on this bit to allow some of you to catch up, because this has got to be completely dry before you paint on top of that. Okay, so we'll put some cadmium yellow. Nice bit of cad yellow on there. Sap green. Obviously I'm using today mixture of either Bob Ross paints, and if you haven't got any Bob Ross paints, Winsor & Newton Winton range is about as close as you're going to get. I find that work quite well. So sap green. I've got Van Dyke brown. Van Dyke brown. I've got a bit of burnt umber. Burnt umber. And I'm going to put some titanium white on. I like to put a couple of piles out on there because it gets contaminated quite a bit. So, and I might put a little bit of permanent red. I'll put it down here somewhere on the palette just in case I need it later on. So, they're the colours, guys. Hopefully you can see all those on the screen okay. And I'm just going to put it down out the way just to stop the glare, so you don't have the glare in front of you. So I'm hoping now that all of you have painted this black canvas, let it completely dry. You can always use a hairdryer on it just to speed up the process, the drying process. Okay, so we're going to have a bit of fun. Now you can either use Bob Ross liquid clear to go over, paint over the whole surface, or if you haven't got that, what you can do is get yourself a little bit of tissue, and a little bit of refined linseed oil. So, and all I'm going to do is just going to get a drop of this, put a bit of this on a bit of tissue, and I'm just going to lightly rub over the whole canvas. So swirl it around, just forcing this into the grain, and you know it's got enough on because you just want it slightly shiny, just a slight sheen on there, just to help the paint slide nicely. Now some kitchen paper is better than others. Sometimes you get white bits like I have on here, but not to worry. Just for demonstration purposes, when you do it, I'm sure that yours is going to be fantastic because you won't use the paper like I am. So we're just looking for a wet, nice, slick surface. No, not too much. A lot of mistakes, my students, they put far too much of this on there and it becomes too wet and slippery. So we're not looking for that today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into some black and some blue. So I'll get some black and blue, pull these down, mainly blue, crisscross strokes, and I'm just going to come up to the canvas. Now it is difficult to see because obviously this is a black dark canvas and I don't know what the video is going to pick up, but basically I just need to put this at random all over the canvas. I'm not sure if it shows up, it may show up, it may not, but I'm just literally dancing this colour. You don't need much paint. I said I'm spreading this out nicely back into a bit more black. So I'm just doing crisscross strokes. I want to make sure the whole canvas is covered. Again, if you miss a few little drops, it doesn't matter, spaces, it doesn't matter. But I'm just doing little tiny crisscross strokes. And again, you could use the 2-inch brush if you wanted to speed this up, or you can use a little 1-inch brush. But again, I'm just literally doing little crisscross strokes. Now you can go backwards or forwards, left and right afterwards if you want. Just force this into the canvas. Just a tiny amount, nice even amount of colour on your canvas. So hopefully you followed along with that, guys, and that was a nice easy step. Now we're going to have a bit of fun. So I'm going to put my brush down and pick up a small fan brush. I'm going to go into some white. Now I'm going to bring this down when I do this to just under halfway, so halfway is around here. So I'm going to about an inch above there, which is, I've got a pencil, here we are. That's roughly about halfway. I'm going to go about in that area there, something like that. So about an inch lower than halfway. So I'm just going to go straight into titanium white, pull it one way, pull it the other way, load the brush with colour, and literally I'm just going to twist backwards and forwards like so with the brush, like it's dancing on the canvas. So I'm just dancing this on the canvas, leaving little gaps in between there. Hopefully it's picking it up in the video. And as I said, I'm going to come down to about there. Okay, so we're just smashing this backwards and forwards. As I'm touching the canvas, I'm literally spinning it backwards and forwards. Literally spin this backwards and forwards, guys. So getting colour on there. Not covering up all the dark. I'm going to go into some more white. This way, load it back the other way. Again, this is completely random, guys. So this is a really fun part. Let your creative juices flow now. Again, all I'm doing, I'm just getting a brush and I'm just spinning this around, a bit more colour. And literally, I'm just dancing this backwards and forwards. I'm just going to wipe my brush handle because it's very slippery. Better? I do apologise if you can hear dogs barking and so. I've got my dogs in the garden barking. I'm in my studio, so you may hear my dog barking out again. All I can do is apologise for that, guys, but it is live, as I said, and when it's live, it's unedited and it's how it is. So wherever this turns out, it turns out. We're all going to have a bit of fun. That's what all that matters at the end of the day, guys, is that you have a bit of fun and you just have a go. So sometimes I'm overlapping the bits and pieces like that. So I think that's yeah, I think that's a bit enough. I think come down out there. That should be good. Okay, so I'll put my brush down, and then I'm going to get my 2-inch brush. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slightly blend this back. So I'm going to bend the bristles on the canvas. I'm going to work up and come down, up and come down, up and down. Apply quite hard pressure. And what this is doing is this is diffusing the colour on there. Can you see that? So it's sort of diffusing this background. It's what I'm looking for. I want it diffused. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe my brush on a bit of tissue. Then I'm going to come back into it again and I'm going to do it again. Just a bit more. Come across. Just to diffuse it a little bit more until we're happy. You can do as much or as little of this time as you wish. The more you do it, the more it's going to blend back into there. And I think that's a nice background there. Lovely. Okay, so next bit, I'm going to go into a fan brush. Now, if I'm using the one, I've got 2 fan brushes. So if you're using the first one, I'll go back to one that's dirty. I'm just going to squeeze this in a bit of tissue paper. I'll go into a little bit of refined linseed oil, and I'll squeeze it in there to get that out. Now again, If you've got odourless thinners, you can use odourless thinners and clean it thoroughly with odourless thinners. Okay, so I want this. I'm going to put some trees in here, back in the distance of the woods here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a nice dark. So basically, I'm just going to go straight into some black, straight into black. So pull it one side, bend the bristles, and the other side. So I'm going to put some distant trees in here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hold it quite lower to the bristles, and I'm literally going to tap. So basically I'm going to get, I don't know, 4 or 5 in here. So I'm going to tap from here, start from the top, and we're just literally just tapping. And as you're tapping it, it becomes like furry. So you've got all these little bits coming out the side, which creates beautiful texture. That's what we're looking for. So I'll put one there, load back up my brush. I've got another one here. I'm not going to do them all coming. This one comes off the canvas, comes out. The next one, I may not have it taking it right out the canvas. It might come up about there. Push it a little bit lighter, and so it doesn't become so wide. The actual tree won't be so wide. Okay, because we want these varied distance. Okay, we just tap over them, so it becomes like furry. Okay, I'm not going to load the brush up again. I'm going to come over to here this time. I'm going to put another one back there. And when you come down, you can move it sort of slightly to the right and slightly to the left, and it looks like the tree's bending slightly each way. And I purposely didn't reload up for this one because that means there's less paint on the brush. So this will be slightly lighter than that one. And again, I haven't loaded the brush again. I'm going to do another one here. And I'm pressing slightly lighter pressure, pushing on here. And again, what that's doing is, hopefully, I don't know, you can pick it up on the video, that then is lighter than this one, so it looks like this one's in front of that one and this one's more distant. And again, I'm not going to load again. I'm just going to get a bit of paper. I'm just going to touch one side and touch the other side just to remove a bit more paint. And I'm going to come down here and do another one. Just slightly thinner, and I'm going to do another one next to it. Again, it's up to you how many of these trees that you want in the distance. Come down here. Entirely up to you how many you want of these guys. Entirely up to you. I think that'll do. Let's have another one over there, I think. Coming down here. Very soft one in the distance. And now this has got hardly any paint on the brush. And I may put another one. Yeah, I'm going to put another one in there. But I'm just touching it. Because there's hardly any paint on the brush, it just becomes a subtle tree in the distance. Let's do another one in there, guys. Just a little bit of colour. Okay, I'm happy with that. Hopefully yours is looking very similar. I'm not going to go into a little liner brush or a little thin brush. I'm going to get some medium, which is the refined linseed oil, guys. And I'm going to go into the black and spin it around, adding this bit of medium to it. So it becomes sort of like ink consistency. I'm just going to put a few limbs on these. So, I know these trees, the limbs all hang down. So I like to hold it at the end of the brush so you've got less pressure, less control. I'm just going to touch and pull a few of these limbs down. Okay, from this side, touch. Put a few of these limbs down. Go back into, each time I'll do a limb, I will go back into the material. So a few of these ones coming down here. Again, preference to how many of these you want to put in there. Again, I'm just showing my palette again. I'm just literally getting the medium and I'm just spinning this round, mixing this round so it's like inconsistency. Alright, so a few of these coming down here. Again, I'm going to make these of different lengths. Pieces coming off. The actual branches themselves, there's going to be pieces coming off, coming down. And some come down and they go up. So they actually come down and then they go up. A few pieces here and there. Again, this is distant, so we're going to put some foliage over the top of these as well, so I ain't got to worry too much about them. It's nice just to get a few of these bits in. Another piece up there. Again, it's entirely up to you how many of these bits you put in. Really is. So step back from your picture, have a look and think, yeah, that's probably enough. You don't want too many on there, too many at all. I think that'll do. Yeah, that'll do nicely. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, brush down. Okay. What we're going to do now is I'm going to put some land and grass in, and the colours come out so well with the blacks. They really do. It really does come out so well. So I've got a dirty 1-inch brush, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull down into the cadmium yellow. So I like cadmium yellow, and because I've already got this dark colour on, it makes it a beautiful green. But I'm just going to get a little touch of sap green, pull that into it across, so you can see that I've got some sap green, pull that across into it, some cadmium yellow. So I want this slightly darker at the back to start with, so more sap green than cad yellow at the moment, so a lot of this I'm just tapping. Now you can do this with a 2-inch or a 1-inch brush. What I'll do it with a 2-inch brush, you can see. So this is obviously still got colour on, so pull down more of the sap green, so a lot of colour there, and then I'm just going to tap. So obviously if you're holding it down you'll be pushing at this angle. Literally I'm just going to tap, and then when I come up to here I'm just going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to leave a little gap, probably about 1 inch, something like that, before I start, because I want some dark in there. But I'm going to come from the side and literally I'm just going to touch, just literally touch. So very light tapping movements, like so. Make a little noise, but hopefully you can see this. It really does stand out really well. I'm just going to tap this down here. Okay, open the bristles up a bit more, and literally, and hold this so it doesn't make too much noise for you. So literally, I'm just tapping this down. You've got to think of the land. I'm positioning it so the land's running towards this way. Okay, so I'm going to take this right across a bit more, like so. Now the more you tap on it, the more it will blend back into the background. Okay, I'm going to come this side, so I want to create a bit of interest. So I'm going to actually tap from this side, like so. And I'm trying to create interest where these are they are overlapping each side, so I don't want it in a straight line, and I'm going to probably pull it down to here. So just tap again. Now I tap, I leave little gaps of dark in between, so it creates like planes. Again, I'm just tapping, very light. I'll go back into my colour. I may pull down a little bit more of the cadmium yellow. Give that a tap. It's easier when you've got it laid down, you can tap like so, guys, and then I'll pull some yellow. I'll do one across this way. Okay, just tap here. Now you can, hopefully you can see that that is brighter. Hopefully it shows that more, because I want it darker further away we are. As we come forward, I want it a bit brighter. So I'm going to tap a bit more. A bit of tap. Sorry about the noise of the tapping. Come over this side. Literally, I'm just tapping over at an angle. Just pull it up a bit higher. It's better. Okay, now I may actually add a little bit of what we got, a bit of raw sienna, bit of sienna. So I'm going to get a little bit of sienna. Just to add a bit more flavour to it down here. So I'm just going to get some of that, pull that in with it, add that in. Okay, just give it a tap. Tap the bristles down. I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there, just to change the flavour slightly. Hopefully you can see that on the video. It's a slight change of colour there. Just on here, hopefully it's a slight change. And I'm going to come this way and then take this colour and hold it at the top for you, like so. A bit more of that colour. Like so. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, that'll do nicely. Okay, cool, happy with that. So hopefully you can see the slight change in colour. Now what I'm going to do is get my fan brush. I'm going to clean the fan brush and squeeze it between the tissue. And then I go into some medium, and again, if you've got odorless thinner, then use odorless thinner. It's entirely up to you. And then what I tend to do is I'll get a baby wet wipe and I'll squeeze it in a baby wet wipe as well, just to remove this excess. I try not to use so much odorless thinner or thinner as I can. It's not nice stuff, guys. So really squeezing this out, and then you must make sure I use a dry bit of tissue afterwards, after you've done the baby wet wipe. Again, there's going to be a little bit of residue of colour, but don't worry too much. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to create some water. It'd be nice to have like a water stream coming down here. I think it'll look nice. So what we're going to do is use this fan brush. I'm going to go into the white. It's got a little bit of blue on there already, contamination already. Pull it one way, pull it the other way, and I'm just going to use the side of the brush, and I'm just literally just going to pull a little straight line along and down, just straight down there. Hopefully you can see that. So the water starts from there, and then I'm going to bend the bristles upwards. Literally just going to push up here. Now what you can do is just get your finger and just very lightly just blend that in at the bottom there, because we don't want it too pronounced. So I'm going to go back over that again, because that's gone a bit now. So along and down like so. I'm just going to use my finger just at the top there, that's it, just to take away some of the harshness. Then I'm going to push up like so, and then I'm going to have it coming down this side. so the water's running around that way. And I'm going to pull this round here, come round, down, like so. So it's come around here. Then I'm going to run this side to side in here. And what it's doing is it's picking up some of the blue that's behind there. So it's like, well, water's coming down there, splashing round there. There's like rocks, and it's coming down here, and we've got water coming down here. And I'm just going to put it along and down. So I'm just going to run this along and down, along and down, like that. So the water's running along there, and it's coming down there. And at the bottom here, I'm just going to push the bristles and just lightly just press up at the base to create some splashes. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to wiggle this back side to side in between where my grass is coming down, like so, and then I'm going to pull this down here again. Well, hopefully you can see it. I'll do it again. If it doesn't show up, just go back over it again with your colour. Come down to there. I might put a bit more colour on this so it stands out a bit more for the video. I'm not sure how well it's showing up in your video on this live stream. So put it along and down. Okay, and then again I'm just going to do the same again. Connect that in. Just wiggle this from side to side like so. And I think it'd be nice if we put a few rocks and that in there. So I'll stop now, and I'll get so we find a knife. Not a knife, that's not good. Knife. Okay, so what I've got here, got like a little knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some Van Dyke brown, neat Van Dyke brown, and I'm going to create like a rock. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread this colour down here. Literally just spread this. I don't know if you can be able to see it on the video. Literally I'm just scraping this colour into this area here, but I only want it really to stain the canvas. And I'm going to do the same over the other side. So I'm going to put this down, curving round this sort of way, round there, if that makes sense. So I've got some around this way and some around there. So literally I'm just scraping this colour on the canvas, and this is Van Dyke brown. And again, it misses a few bits, that's fine, a few gaps, but literally I just want to get a bit of that over there. Then I'm going to wipe the knife. Well, this is basically just like a mixing knife, this one, but it'll be fine for what we want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some sienna, a little bit of sienna there, and a touch of white. I'm just going to mix that so it's marble. See, so it's marble. Hopefully you can see marble. And I'm going to get a bit of that. Now, what we're going to try and do is very, very lightly just let it spread over the top of this, but very, very lightly. So I'm just going to, with no pressure, I'm just going to let this take it from the knife. So hopefully it will just literally take it from the knife so it looks like a rock. I'll get something outside. I'll put a bit more here. As you can see, I'm just literally spreading this down like so, leaving gaps. Marbled finish. I'll come over to the other side. Literally the same here. colour. Literally just letting it we're going to put some grass and things over the top of it anyway, so it'll be fine. So a bit more down here. I'm not worried too much about what it looks like over there. So just so we get a little bit of colour on there. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And I think also, what we'll do is I'll put a little rock in there in a minute, but we'll carry on with the bit of grass. So we've got these big rocks now. Hopefully it's showing up on the live stream here, the video. And I'm going to go back into my, you can either use a 1-inch brush or 2-inch brush. This is a 1-inch brush this time, using the same colour with the sap green and the cadmium yellow, and I'm just going to literally just tap. So basically put it one side and the other side and then tap up so you get a little ridge. So it's easier to do it when it's flat down, just give it a tap. Okay, and then very lightly I'm just going to tap over the top of this, like so. And then I'll pull it over the top very lightly in a few spaces. Now don't put too much paint on there, otherwise you'll create lots of mud. So very soft, light touches. But I'm going to actually start angling this down. So I'm actually going to create this as if the actual grass is coming down over here. So each time I'll keep loading the brush and give it a tap. So we've got this nice grass angling down here. Load up again, give it a tap, and again I'm just making it as if this grass is just hanging down the rocks. Literally just sort of hanging down to the rocks over the top. So that's the effect I'm looking for. Just hang it down the side here. At the bottom I'm just going to tap some a little bit of this green just down here. Literally just tapping down here, so it looks like there's some of this grassy effect around there. And then again I'm going to do the same the other side around here. Just very lightly tap. I'm just tapping a bit around there for a minute. Tap this around here. I'm just angling this down. Just angle it down like the rock face. So it creates interest, pleasing to the eye, like so. Okay, don't cover all your rock up. Sorry about the tapping noise, not the canvas. Okay, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that so far. Now I'm going to go back into a water. Let's put a little rock in the middle there. So basically I'm going to get some Van Dyke brown. I'm just going to create a little rock in the middle there. Not too much paint. Just there. And then I'll get some sienna with the white. Put that on there, marbled. And just run a lot of it along the top and perhaps down the side of the edge there. So create a rock. Then I'm going to go back onto my fan brush, go back into my the fan brush here, and very lightly I'm just going to come round here, just sideways, and then I'm just going to touch and pull down next to the rock here. So this side, using the very tip, okay, just using this very small part, try not to touch the rock, backwards and forwards, and then touching down, okay. And then again, what would happen is you'd have a lot of splash coming up, so press up here, using the corner, just tapping up, and then as it comes out from the splash, you're just going to rock this backwards and forwards like so. And again, do some more splashes because this is like a and rock this backwards and forwards like so. Tapping the sides, and again we can tap a bit more of this green, go into your green, and just tap a few more bits where you need to just cover some of these bits up here. If you need to cover a few of these bits at the edges, just to tidy these edges up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this down a bit more here into the water edge, just to straighten that up a bit more. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, it's looking good, guys. It's looking good. Hopefully you're following along, and you can see you've got this beautiful rock here and this little rock bit there, and this beautiful stream and nice rock there. I think we'll put just a couple more rocks, just one up there perhaps, and one on this side. And again, I'm just going to wipe my knife. Now you could do this with a filbert brush, a little brush, just put it in. We're just trying to get a little bit of colour in there. So Van Dyke brown, a little bit of Van Dyke brown, and I'm just going to touch here and just put a little one there, a little bit more Van Dyke brown. So we'll put a little one there, a tiny bit of. All I literally want to do is just put a little bit of colour in there, and I think, let's have a look. You can do one just there, perhaps, just there. A little bit showing, a little bit of this brown showing. Now I'll wipe my brush, and again go to some sienna with some white in it, just a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll run a little bit of light colour on the very top edge, just on the top edge there, down perhaps the front. Same with this one, just at the very top edge, like so. And this one, just run it on the very top edge of the dark. Run this light on the very top edge, and then perhaps down the face. Hopefully that stands out for you. Now, sometimes when you put these rocks in after, it looks like they're just sitting on their own. So what you can do, you can get your fan brush. Okay, you can get a fan brush, go into your colour, into the green, and you just press upwards very lightly at the base of these rocks, and that just sits them back in. You know, sits them back in there, guys. So that's a waterfall done, and we've got our rocks, and we've got a nice bit of foliage in there, but we can't leave it at that, guys, can we? No, we can't leave it at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my fan brush. I'm going to some, this time we did these trees with just black. So this time I'm going to use Van Dyke brown, straight Van Dyke brown. Okay, one side, other side, and perhaps just a touch of black. So Van Dyke brown and black. I'll put it one side and put it the other side. Okay, I'm going to start from, let's have a look. I think we have one here, we have one over there. So I'm not going to push too hard, but I'm just going to take this, put it along. I'm going to put one there. Okay, so I've wiggled it around. I haven't done it like a perfectly straight. Now, if it doesn't come out too well, get your brush going, turn it up the other way, and you can go back over it. So, pull it along. And there, just set it down. That's one. Got got to have a couple more, haven't we, guys? So pull it one way, pull it the other way, and I think we have, yeah, we've got a nice big one over here, and I think we'll have another one. We'll set one back. So yeah, no, let's set one back there. So what I'm going to do is that one comes down to there. We'll take that one down a little bit lower, about there. Think about perspective now, guys. I'm going to have one here coming, yeah, about there. So I'm going to pull that across that one, like so. Oh, it comes up to about there. So didn't push too hard, so it's slightly thinner, okay, to give it a bit more perspective. Okay, I'll have that one coming to about there. Obviously make the base a little bit wider, because it's got its limbs coming out down the side there, something like that. So that one's further away than this one, because this one is in front. And then I'm going to put a nice big one here. So load up again, bit of black, bit of Van Dyke brown, put it one way and the other way. And I think we'll set this one about there. Yeah. So basically I'm going to come from, let's pull this one from the side there, right way around, and we'll take this one down there. Nice big one, right there. Nice and fat. So at the base, I'll just pull this down and out slightly, so his limbs go down. See this one right on these rocks here. So it was easy enough, guys, to put these trees in here. Okay, I like to pull the limbs down and follow the way the land's going, so it looks like it's sitting inside the grass areas. So let's get a knife again. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to get a little tiny bit of, let's get a little bit of the red, which I've got here. It could be alizarin crimson or permanent red. I'm just going to get a bit of white, put it there, and just a touch of the red and mix it in. Now don't put too much. I'm going to make it a little bit brighter for your benefit. Okay, so you can see it. Hopefully you can see that. It's pretty red. But don't get too carried away and have it too bright. I mean, I've done this too light just for your benefit, really. It's a little bit too light. Just going to wipe my knife. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this on the side of the knife. So I've got a little tiny band of paint. I'm just going to take it up the side, on the right hand side. I'm just going to touch the very side and pull it to the left just slightly. So I'm just literally just touching all the way up, just on this right hand side. So I've touched the right side. Then what I'm doing, without loading it again, I'm going to touch the same paint, keep touching it and tapping. So I touch and get the paint will come off back onto the knife. So I'm going to touch and tap, 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 very lightly towards the back edge. So I'm tapping here. What happens is it gradually gets darker as it moves back. Okay, this is a little bit too bright, but again I'm doing this on purpose for you guys so you can see this. I'm just literally just tapping. Now this is too light this side, so I'm just going to get my brush and just brush that back in again, alright, because I just want this side for the moment. So I'm going to get some more, reload again, and then I'm going to do this one. Same thing on the right hand side. Hopefully you can see this, guys. and just tap in very lightly as we come to the other side. That one, and then I'm going to do this one, same. On this side. Like so. Good. So basically the right hand side now it's got reflect, light on there now. Okay. Now what I'm going to do now is get a little bit of blue. Get a little bit of fado blue. Now blue is very powerful, so very careful. I'm going to put it into the same colour. Okay. You can see how powerful that blue is. Okay. So scrape the knife, wipe the knife. I'll get a little tiny bit on the knife. Okay. And we're going to put that on the opposite side. So I'm going to turn the knife up the other way and start from the bottom, very lightly. Don't need very much, hardly any paint. Just on this back edge, working up. On this back side, okay. And then I'll tap towards the middle. Okay, so from this side I'll tap towards the middle. This is just a little bit of blue reflective light. Okay, which just adds a bit more to your picture. Hopefully you can see that on the live stream we're doing. Just collecting a little bit of colour, a little bit of blue. Not too worried, as we go up it may go into the distance and you may not see that. Okay, now I've done that, I will clean my knife and go back into the Van Dyke Brown and get a little tiny bit on the Van Dyke Brown, and now I'm going to tap that into the middle part again. So literally I'm just tapping into this middle part. And what this does is it creates lovely texture. So when this dries, you could touch this and it really does look like real bark. So I'm going to load up again. So I'm just tapping the edge of this knife. So it looks like it's a lovely texture. Gives it lovely texture by doing this, guys. It's well worth doing because it makes it look more realistic. A little bit on the back one. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, now we want to put a few limbs on these trees that we put in. So I'm going to get my little liner brush again. And again, we need medium. So I'm going to get some refined linseed oil, or odorless thinner. I'm going to the Van Dyke Brown this time. So I need quite a few drops. It's the same as like odorless thinner, 4 or 5 drops. But spin it around, give it a good spin as you're doing it. Okay, and then think about where you're going with these bits. So go down and up. So come down and up, down and up. A little piece coming off, like so. Again, it's entirely up to you again how many of these bits that you have on yours. It's completely personal preference. How many you want to put on yours. I'll put a few on it just for demonstration purposes. You can see what we're doing. Obviously we've got some foliage going on here, so a few bits and pieces here. I won't get too carried away. But we're doing a few bits on here because obviously we've got some foliage that is going to go on. I think that'll do, that'll be enough. Yeah, that'll do enough, just so you can see what we're doing. So, clean that. Now, down here is, I like to get my 1-inch brush just to set these back in here, because sometimes they look like they're just floating on the top. So very lightly I'll just tap the base, around the bottom of the trees, like so, just so it doesn't look like they're just floating in midair. So the worst thing is as if they're floating there. So we'll just put this down, like so. That looks a bit better. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a bit of foliage. I hope everyone's managing to follow along okay, guys, and you know, you can stop any time for a cup of tea. I could do it with tea if anyone wants to make me one, that'd be lovely. But anyway, let's carry on. So now we're going to put some, I think we'll put some foliage over these trees. These 3 trees, not the distant ones, because I don't think you're going to notice on those. So what we do is we get an oval brush. Now, if you haven't got an oval brush, you could use a 1-inch brush, or again you could use a fan brush, but I've got an oval brush, so I'm going to use an oval brush. But what I'm going to do is get some black. So I'm going to go into some black, and I'm going to go into the Van Dyke brown. So black and Van Dyke brown. I'll put it one way and the other way. And this brush is fantastic, because all you have to do is literally just tap down and it creates these lovely roundy effects. Now, don't just tap them at random, think about clusters. So if you think of a triangle, like a sort of triangle, so basically let's say we're going to do this one, there'll be a triangle, so we would tap it here, tap it down there, back and down there. So it's like a cluster, a clump, and I'll demonstrate. So very lightly I'll just tap a few in the middle there, then I'll come down and tap a few here, and I may tap a few down there, but slightly lower than this side. Hopefully you can see that. I'll load this up again. I'll do a few more up here on this one, and I'll come across over to this side. So tap it at the top, over to the side here, and I may tap it down to the side there. Come over here, down to there. So, and I don't want to come down too low. I just want a few bits at the top. I'll load my brush again. I'll just literally just pull it one side, the other side, and just tap in. Okay. So I've done some small ones there. And then this one, again, I'll start from there. Tap across here, down, up, down and across. I may do a few down here as well, like that. So there's like clusters, little clusters. A few over there, distant ones. Clusters of dark, because we need dark to show the light, guys. Okay, so without cleaning the brush, I'll get a little bit of medium. I'll go into the medium, a little bit of medium, and I'll pull this down into the cadmium yellow and the sap green. I'll put it one way and put it the other way, but mainly the cad yellow. And I'll put it down one way, then the other way, and then I'll give it a tap. I'll tap quite hard. Okay, so you can see what happens, the effect over here. Again, we don't want it too bright, we just want it enough. So what I'll do is, because when we first start we've got the most amount of colour on here, I will start on here because we want it, and as I tap it will become lighter because the paint comes off. So let's start with the brightest one. We're going to be here. So literally I'm just very lightly tapping over the dark. Now I don't want to do too much and too many, because it will kill off the effect. Alright, so now it's going, the paint's been removed, so it becomes dark. So I'm going to do these ones, because I want these ones slightly darker at the back here. Okay, because I want this bright. I'm going to go over this one again in a minute. So I'm going to go into some more colour. I'm going to do this one. Go back into my colour. Hopefully you can see that these are not too bright. It's just the illusion. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a couple of bright sparkly ones, just a few just to show you. Is that I'll go into the cadmium yellow, pull this down, and just tap into this, and just a couple of sparklers here. Just a couple of brighter ones. That would do. So as you can see, it's a dark. We don't want too bright. You can get carried away and put too much of the yellow, and then it would be too much. This is just enough to make this nice and subtle, and it doesn't take it away. We want the person's eye to look overall, but really to look down into this waterfall area. That is the idea of the picture. So I think we're just about finished, guys. Again, you know, please leave all your questions. I know some of you have been probably questioning and answering things as I've been doing the live stream, but as I said, I will answer all the questions afterwards when you know, the recording's finishing and it's saved, and I'll have a look at any questions that people have done on this, and then I'll answer every questions. So it's Mark Terrell with Paint with Mark, and well, that's it, guys. That's the end of the live stream, and I hope you really enjoyed this, and if you have, I really do appreciate you, thumbs up and liking the video and sharing it, and you know, if you want me to do some more of these, let me know, and you know, well, I'd love to do some of these for you. So thanks very much. The worst part is cleaning up.